Hey SDS Nation, today in less than 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how to solve a historic case of serial murder. Between 1919 and 1926, East Tennessee was terrorized by a serial killer dubbed the Night Marauder. I originally looked at this case for Dr. Lee Meller, aka Dr. Murder, and Dr. Nancy Laughlin, who, along with her research assistants, started the Night Marauder project at Maryville College. I'll post the link in the description. Okay, let's dive in. To start, simply pull up Knoxville, Tennessee on Google Earth and get a good overhead image of the area. Next, remove all the details that don't really matter, the places, the features, and even the roads. Remember, we're looking at 1920s Knoxville. For our next step, we want to find an old map of Knoxville. This map's from 1930 and is close enough to our time frame. You will need to overlay this on your Google Earth image, which can be tricky. Always try and use a land feature to overlay old maps because they are the least likely to change over time. To overlay this map, I use the Tennessee River. Now, we need to add in all of the known attack sites. Some of these are confirmed related, others are presumed to be related. All of our pins are either accurate or approximate. Next, let's draw a convex hull connecting all the outermost attack sites. A convex hull is simply a polygon. Theoretically, if the offender lives within that convex hull, they are known as an anchor point offender. If they are found outside of that area, they are known as a traveling offender. While this convex hull is informative, it's not a very accurate picture of what is actually going on. Always break down your serial offending into clusters. You'll either have one, multiple, no clusters, or a combination. Here, we see 3 clusters and 3 single events. Identifying where one cluster ends and another one begins just takes practice. Clusters could be identified through obvious grouping or something more subtle, like a land feature or community division. Try and notice patterns in where the attacks occurred. Here, we see many of the attacks are almost in a straight line. That likely means the offender attacks along some kind of route, path, or road. I found an old street railcar map of Knoxville from 1907. These street railcars were in operation until the 1940s, so the map will work for this case. Overlay the map on top of your city map and match it up with the land feature, in this case the Tennessee River. We now start to see a pattern between the location of streetcar lines and where the attacks occurred. I like to have as few overlays as possible, so here I simply traced out the streetcar lines and then removed that map, so I'm left with my map of 1930 Knoxville. The streetcar lines in black correspond to attack sites, and the brown lines identify streetcar lines where no attacks occurred. The brown lines are just as important as the black lines, because we are now identifying areas of comfort and familiarity for our offender. Let's add back in our clusters to get a better picture. You could even make the argument that every railcar line is a separate cluster, but let's not get too complicated. All right, let's dive a little bit deeper just for fun. Every pin is within 150 yards of a railcar line, showing us that our offender is likely using this method to travel throughout the city. However, I have enlarged 5 pins on this map, and those pins are up to 300 yards from any given line. This may indicate that the offender is traveling to and from a railcar line for another purpose. I have outlined in blue one significant landmark in this area of the map, and that is Knoxville College. This map simply shows that our offender may have been using the railcar lines to travel to and from Knoxville College. This isn't an absolute, but it is definitely an avenue of investigation. At the time, there were 3 other campuses in the area, shown by the green pins on this map. All 3 campuses were part of the University of Tennessee. There don't appear to be any attacks in these areas or along the routes to and from these campuses, so it is unlikely that our offender was associated with the University of Tennessee. I finish off by identifying a potential area where our offender resides, shown with the yellow house symbol, and an area in Knoxville College where our offender studies or works, shown with the yellow wrench symbol. For everyone who is curious how a geographic profiler and criminal profiler work together, this is the point where I would hand my profile over to the criminal profilers. I have narrowed down potential areas, routes, and points of interest. They would now take my profile and use the offender's spatial behavior to further refine their own criminal profile, and together we would make recommendations to detectives investigating the case. This case is very old and the offender will be deceased, but solving these cases is no less important. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and rumor has it I may be going live soon.